Hi guys, welcome back to SSA Athletics, and in this particular video we're going to be looking at the best track performances of 2023. If you like what we do on this channel, smash subscribe, maybe hit the bell notification so you can find out when the rest of our videos come out. And straight into number 10 we have Femke Bol and her awesome performance at the Dutch National Championships. Femke Bol had an awesome year, but this indoor race was the start of her fantastic year. She led the race from start to finish, pushing herself into the break line in first place. She was pushed all the way by her training partner, who on paper was the fastest 400-meter sprinter there, having made it to the World Championship finals the year previous. However, Bambi was able to sprint away from her down the home straight in order to set a new record. And at number 9 we have Kipyegon in Monaco. The mile is a race that has been replaced by the metric mile, the 1500 meters. Nonetheless, it still holds cultural and historical significance in the sport of athletics. Kipyegon did something outstanding. During the last lap, Kipyegon was nearly 200 meters ahead of her competition at the Diamond League meeting in Monaco. As a result, she smashed the world record in a dominance of 5 seconds, creating a new world record of 4:07.64. The next one we're going to look at is Gudaf Tsegay's win in Budapest at the 10,000 meters. This is going to be a hotly contested event, with Softie Hassan, who attempted the triple at Eugene, the Ethiopian Gudaf Tsegay, and the legend that is Bekkalie, with an outside chance of doing well for the Europeans, was Eilish McColgan, who was the ranked number 1 coming into this event. Nonetheless, she wasn't necessarily within the top 10 fastest in the world.
What a finish! Oh my goodness me!
Femke Bol dropped that baton before she got to the finish line. That baton went over the finish line. She could not get it, bring it back and cross the finish line. I'm not sure that the Netherlands were able to finish that race.
Over 6.25 miles. Oh, and Gudaf caused Hassan to stumble.
As the race started, the non-Africans ran straight to the front in order to try and drag them out. Eventually, with Eilish McColgan and Jess Strudd sitting in behind, as well as another athlete trying to sit in behind, trying to lead them out from the front, eventually the pack got stretched. As the race got into the mid-phases, the Africans started to move forward. But what was interesting was that Softie Hassan sat at the back of the pack for most of the race. Coming round with the 400 meters to go, she pushed off into the lead, being pushed away by 2 Ethiopian athletes. When the pack started to splinter and sniffed an opportunity, a bit similar to how Kelly Holmes used to run her races. Coming down into the 200 meter straight, they lost one of the Ethiopian athletes, and it was a battle between her and Gudaf Tsegay, hitting her arm against the chest of Gudaf. She lost her balance. Something spectacular happened. She fell. Have Josh Kerr in Budapest. Leading into Budapest, 1500 meter final, the Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen was the crowd's favourite. However, his favouritism was not wholly justified, as there were many athletes given the right conditions and with relative times who could, on their day, potentially beat him on paper. Following the race, Josh Kerr stated that the way Jakob approached the race was arrogant. To understand how Jakob Ingebrigtsen lost this race, we need to understand how he was beaten last year in Eugene. As we can see, Great Britain's Jake Whiteman was able to win this race by placing himself in front of Jakob on their last lap, trying twice on the back straight to push past him. As a result, Jakob Ingebrigtsen had to run harder. He was thusly wasting energy because he led quite a lot of the way in that race. Because he had to try and run up front for the most of the race, he didn't necessarily have that relative speed at the end of the race. Josh Kerr tried to do the same this year, although he received a lot stiffer opposition from the Norwegian. Nonetheless, similar results occurred where Jakob ran out of energy and was thusly out-sprinted, as we can see him here looking behind it. This means that Josh won his first major gold of his life and became a surprising winner of the event. As a result, he is SSA's underdog winner of the year. Maria Perez was having an awesome undefeated season and people were counting down the days until she competed against the current world champion, Peru's Kimberly Gacia. During the European, the Spanish race walker on home soil was able to break the European record. She broke the record for the 35-kilometer race walk, clocking 2:37.15. Softie Bekkalie, the Moroccan, carried his impressive consistency right through to 2023. Nonetheless, he was not the world lead, and Girma had broken the world record at steeplechase in Paris. Bekkalie played the perfect tactical race, pushing past him and making Girma have to make a decision. Does he go harder now, or try and outdo him on the sprint? A decision he did not make, and thusly, because he did not push early enough, this allowed Softie Bekkalie
is going to become a multiple world champion at the 3,000 metre steeplechase
to sprint away into the lead unabated.
But he just didn't go early enough, he just didn't go hard enough, and Bekkallie's reign at the top of world steeplechasing continues.
If you like what we do on this channel, smash subscribe, and maybe hit the bell notification so you can find out when the rest of our videos come out. The next one on our list is Noah Luyles. The 26-year-old remained undefeated in his 6x200 metre races pre-Budapest. He was utterly dominant, becoming the world lead and having the fastest time that year. Noah was dominant all year. Nonetheless, the young Letsili Tobogo was his nearest competitor and had nearly beaten him once. Noah Luyles is best known for his showboating to the fans, which as you can see here, he was doing prior to race. If he had lost, he would have looked ridiculous. However, after having an incredibly smooth curve, he slingshotted his way off onto the straight, pulling away from everyone. The next on our list is Kelvin Kiptum. Kelvin Kiptum's race in Chicago was absolutely amazing. On that day, Kiptum became the first athlete to break 2:01 in record eligible marathons. In other words, legal marathons that don't have multiple athletes, a car in front of you, and sports scientists to make sure that you get under 2 hours. He clocked 2 hours 35 to take 34 seconds off the previous world record that had been set by his compatriot Eliud Kipchoge in Berlin last year. After passing the halfway mark in 1 hour 48, Kiptum ran a blistering 5-kilometer split of 13:51 between 13 kilometers and 35, and thusly smashed the world record. Kelvin runs the race differently to all other runners who run sub 2:10. There's a relatively slow first half of the race before massive negative splits in the second half of the race. Despite only having made his marathon debut 10 months ago and being relatively young for marathon standards, that being in his 20s, Kiptum now has 3 of the 6 fastest times in history to his name, and it'd be interesting to see what he does against Eliud Kipchoge, the previous world record holder. Girma, Liévin. Liévin is a track known historically for fast sprint times, but since it's been relayed, it's now known for distance world records. The 3,000 metres, like the mile, is something that holds cultural and historic significance, though not ran at major championships. Common has held the world record for many years now, and it being broken was unforeseen at this particular race. Girma dragged the Spanish athlete round as both competing to become the first to break this world record, dragging each other on, latching onto one another. Officials, pacemakers and the crowd could be seen cheering them around the track, standing up, until eventually the battle between the two athletes was won by Girma. Now I was actually debating about whether to put this in there or not, because mountain running is only related to athletics and in partnership with World Athletics. But anyway, here's a bonus, and that is Patrick Kipngeno's performance at the World Championships. The course for the up event of the World Championship was incredibly challenging, with incredibly challenging conditions that challenged all the athletes. The Ugandan Levi Kiprotich and the Kenyan Joseph Kiprotich have been performing extremely well this season and put up a stiff competition. But Patrick was the one who managed to cope best with the conditions and ended up winning there on the day. Tigst Assefa Berlin Marathon performance, our number 1. To put it simply, Tigst did not just break the marathon world record in Berlin, she totally annihilated the record and made the world record barrier look like a silly concept. Normally Berlin and world records are associated with Eliud Kipchoge. However, today was not that day. Coming home in Berlin in a time of 2 hours, 11 minutes and 53 seconds. This is over 2 minutes faster than the last world record. Her halfway split was 1:06.20. To give you a clue of how fast her marathon world record time was, it would have been faster than the 1960s men's world record. And I mean considerably faster. So, this was not just the performances that I decided. Adam McCarthy of SSA, there were some awards that were nominated by you, the fans. And that being our Young Female Athlete of the Year was voted for by the SSA fans was Femke Bol and Letsili Teboga, 65% and 64% respectively. While the Men's and Female Track Athletes of the Year was Faith Kipyegon and Kelvin Kiptum. The Track Coach of the Year was the Swiss coach Morley, who is now head of sprinting, hurdles and relays in the Netherlands team, and trains athletes like Femke Bol, Klavitz and the Swiss athlete Cambucci. He is noted for his success on the Dutch relay teams.
Guys, I really hoped you enjoyed that video. And if you want to know more about the other areas of athletics and see who won those particular ones in 2023, I recommend you click that link or look down in the description below. Have a fantastic 2024, and as always guys, in 2024 I will see you in the next video. Bye.